This is the classic trap game look-ahead spot for Tennessee. They've got Georgia a week from Saturday, and Kentucky, with Will Levis back, is a different football team, obviously,
Yes,
than
they are.
Levis. So let's go. We'll go to Darien first on this one. What are the odds that Tennessee gets caught looking ahead in this spot?
I think it's likely. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I would just say off the top, you mentioned a couple of names I think are really important to hit on. If you're going into the season, right? Take us back to August, begin like week 1, going into that. If you'd have predicted, if you just went stat lines and numbers, who would have this season? People would have put their money on Will Levis. And that's just just off what he did coming into the season and the hype behind him. Nobody saw Hendon Hooker having this season. So to me, I think it's a really good game for Will Levis to put his name back in the hat. I think his name's kind of fell off. I think he's still like a top QB in this upcoming draft. I think he's a prominent prospect, but he definitely hasn't had like the season that he thought he was going to have. Being hurt, kind of balance some stuff. So to me, if I'm him and I'm Kentucky, like this is a game. Because who would have thought? They probably thought it would have been like Alabama or Georgia or whatever, who they would play. But they're playing Tennessee, and this is the game that everybody's going to watch. You win this game, like your name is back up there buzzing. So I think that's kind of the mindset I think Kentucky's going to have with Stoops is like they come in there and look, let's go upset them. And it's like, I don't know, maybe you have the stats. I don't really know who won the past couple of years, but I would assume it's not like nobody's just won that entire rivalry the past 5 years. It's probably been split. So I feel like even though Tennessee, that's the thing about rankings, even though Tennessee's ranked, Kentucky's like, that's still Tennessee. You know, like they ain't been a top 5 team the past 5 years. They've been a team that's been battling and building that program. So if I'm Kentucky, I think if I'm the coach, I'm disregarding the ranking and I'm saying, hey, this is Tennessee who we played the past couple of years. Let's go in there and beat Kentucky. If I'm Tennessee, though, look, if I'm Bill Heupel, Coach Heupel, I am saying if we're a championship contending program, we got to win week to week. Because you look at the ones who do it, the Clemsons, Ohio States, the Bamas. That's probably the 3 I would probably name up there, the Michigans. You got to win week in and week out. Like, because it would be a true fluke to them if they go into a Georgia game not undefeated. Because I feel like it shows that their focus is not championship level caliber. But if they are, which they've shown up to this point, look, go win this game. And it's a one season mentality, 1 week mentality. Go win this game and let's go see what happens.
I did pull the numbers real quick, and then I'll throw back to you, Phil.
Yeah, talk to me.
Kentucky has won 2 of the last 5 in this series. Tennessee won last year, 3-point ball game. Kentucky blew them out 34-7 2 games ago. So it has been pretty back and forth. Will Levis has been involved in 2 different sides of this rivalry.
And that's what I'm telling. You know what I'm saying? As a coach, that's what you're telling the guys. You gotta find. Look, coaches find angles. Like you've been in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? They find angles to use, and that's the angle. And we beat these guys. These are the same guys we beat 2 years ago. Whatever, blew them out.
Here, hold on. I'm hopping in here quick. I got a stat for you. This is a good one. Kentucky though 1-17 in the last 18 meetings at Neyland Stadium. So keep that in mind.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna go with the 53-14-5 record, where this is how I can tell that, like, obviously, Darren, you're a more recent football player than I am, because Kentucky does feel like they're less of they feel like they know what they're doing,
right,
compared to Tennessee. But when I was growing up, Tennessee was the jam, dog. They were the best. Like we had like every person from Charlotte that was any good at football, they went to Tennessee. Tennessee was a beast. And
who was coming out? Was that T. Martin?
T. Martin was there, but we had D'Angelo Lloyd, and we had Peter Boulware, and we had Omar Gaither, and these guys all went and played at Tennessee because Tennessee was the heat. And then Tennessee Tennessee feels like some sort of a monster that's been lost in the woods for a long time. And they have been. It's since what, 2000, we'll call it 2007? They've been lost in the woods. So
the brightest spot of Tennessee the past 5 years has been Alvin Kamara.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, look, besides this year, Alvin Kamara has been the brightest thing to come out of Neyland Stadium.
No, you're not wrong. But what I'm looking at is Tennessee. Here's the scary part. And I'm not trying to hijack Greg, but like Tennessee fans are like, they're waiting for the shoe to drop. They're terrified. at the idea that they might actually be good, because then it's like
this can't be real, you know?
Right. It like this can't be life. What if it's wrong? This can't be right. Like they're terrified. So for me, when I look at this game, I agree with you. I need Tennessee to step up and push to make sure. And I think that Heupel, as a guy coming from a remarkable winning culture, when you throw in Oklahoma, obviously some of the things he did at UCF, but him coming from that, I think is going to instill in them this idea. Tennessee did a thing that, and I think you could probably speak to this with Clemson, with Dabo, right? Where you separate from what you used to do.
Right.
You're different now.
Right.
This is who we are. We're not trying to get the old feeling back. What we're trying to do is be this new version that's really good.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing that right now. And I think having a guy who's not steeped in that culture, having a guy who just came in through what are the channels that Heupel went through from Oklahoma to UCF, all that stuff, he went through he doesn't care. Tennessee was just the best job that he could get. So he brought his stuff here. He wasn't a Tennessee fan growing up. He didn't go to Tennessee. He's not connected to Tennessee. So what he wants to do is build his own culture. And I think that speed and space, I think that persists. I love it. I actually saw a wrinkle last week where we're seeing teams use speed and space against people. Baylor. They brought back the tunnel screen. And I was like, who runs tunnel screens? Nobody runs tunnel screens anymore.
And Clemson around tunnel screens, I tell you.
But everyone was so far outside, worried about that bubble and getting to the outside, that they were able to get back inside. It was essentially an A-gap run that happened at the hash mark because everyone was so worried about outside. But the point I'm making is they're addicted to tempo. When you watch Tennessee play, and I've said this on the show before, watch their wide receivers. When they catch the football and get tackled, the first thing that they do is look for the referee. Where are you at? Where are you at? Let's spot the ball. Let's play. And I love that about them. So for me, I don't think that they're going to lose this weekend. I think this is a rough game, but this goes back to something we mentioned with Ohio State and Penn State as well. If this game is in the 20s, Kentucky's got a fighting chance. This game gets into the 40s. This game gets into the 40s, now you got a problem. Right. And we just saw Tennessee play Alabama in a game that was in the 40s, and that's a place that Alabama does not want to live. It's a place Kentucky doesn't want to live, and it's a place where Tennessee ultimately got the biggest win of this current college football season.
Right. So I'll just fire numbers at you again because that's what I'm here for tonight. So Kentucky, 3 ranked games this season.
Yeah.
In all 3, they've covered, and it hasn't really been close. So they played above expectation against the 3 best teams on their schedule. If you're looking for what those actual games were, they beat Florida by 10. They beat Mississippi State by 10. They lost to Ole Miss by 3. But honestly, if you watch that game, that was a game that was really in their grasp for much of the game. So going back to one thing you said really stood out to me, Felder, and I sort of alluded to this, but not as concisely as you did this morning when we were doing the Best Bets show. It feels like with this Tennessee team this year, anytime they've been in a dice roll situation where the cards might not fall their way, they've somehow fallen their way. And that's not to take anything away from them because they obviously earned the win against Alabama. But, they survived that fumble at the goal line that could have given the game away. Against Florida, Anthony Richardson had the ball with a game-winning potential last play of the game. And I don't think any of us would point our fingers at Florida and say they're some world beaters at this point. So I think it's fair to say Tennessee could be in the conversation for number 1 overall in the country right now based on what they've done. But if they keep putting themselves into positions where it's a dice roll, I mean, teams can only go so many times where they roll once and it comes up. So I guess to leave this, I'll leave you guys with this. Like, is Kentucky, the way they are built and the way they want to play football, are they the type of team that if they do find themselves in a fourth quarter in a dice roll, do they have the stuff to go take that game? Yes or no? Father, what do you think?
I think they do. I think because they're so dangerous offensively, and this is something – listen, I've had a hard time coming to terms with this as a defensive guy. But the reality is the way that the rules are set up, the way that games are called, the way that football works up right now, offense rules the world. We've seen Nick Saban adjust to it, right? We've seen him realize I do have to score 49 points to even be in this football game. So I think that's the key. And I'm sorry, when you saw me just do this, Virginia Tech just had an insane play where they fumbled the kick and then got hit, fumbled it again, and it fumbled right to another guy where they ultimately didn't turn the ball over. It was insane. So there's a lot going on right now. I'm trying to keep up with everything. But no, I think offense rules the world. And because here's the reality. Tennessee's going to be out there on a limb by themselves. You know what's going to happen? They're going to get a pass interference that gives them a free first down. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen. That's the reality of college football. That's the reality of football right now. Am I wrong, Darren?
You're right. You're right. Look, I agree. I think they have enough to get it done. And that's why I was kind of, like I said, I'm not a firm believer they're going to do it, but it's not a crazy take to say this can't be Kentucky. This can't be Kentucky's game to kind of get back in the fold.